Welcome to the second ever episode of Unemployed Geniuses. I'm your host, Brian Kane, and with me as always, my second banana, John Bonetti. You might notice something a little bit different. We have office space! We got out of that crack hole of a basement! That was the whole purpose of this show. Now we
moving on up.
Yeah, to the east side in a deluxe apartment. Alright, so first, John Bonetti, read to us in the Tao of Physics.
Oh shit! I really wish I
had done some homework.
The exact quote that
we're totally on this.
If you give me a second, I might be able to find it. So basically, this book is, in short, it was written in the 70s by this guy Fritjof Capra, who was a physicist, major in physics, and he decided to become a Buddhist. Just because. Because, you know...
The two work really well hand in hand.
Well, like, once you can conquer, like, you know, knowing the laws of physical reality, like, the only place to go is to, you know, just be one with that physical reality.
Well put.
You know? So, more or less, the book goes into exactly, he talks about how modern physics and things such as quantum theory that work, that kind of defy relativity on above atomic scale, talks about how that Eastern religions predicted these bizarre, like, physical things that we're just finding out in science now, like thousands of years ago. Like, and he goes into how Buddhism and it talks about how, like, more or less that everything is connected, and like how the Eastern religions say that everything's connected even at the most basic level.
Yeah, and the best part is that Eastern religions have been saying this for how many thousands of years, and we're just now proving that in physics.
Mm-hmm.
I love how way behind we are in science.
Yeah, it's just like
you can't admit things.
Then he even goes into about how, like, Eastern religion even explains things, like, for instance, like an allegory, for instance. An allegory is something that is basically a false story, that or a myth that is put out to tell you, to make a point. But something that he makes a point about in here is that, like, some allegories have to be made. Some truths can only be told through myths. Like, you can't actually, like, the best way. Sometimes the best way to portray a truth is through myth. Like, you can't actually show somebody, like, the best way sometimes by actually showing them the reality. You have to show them in a myth. Mm-hmm. And, like, he gets at that, and then he talks about how, like, a lot of you know, religion, and then as he gets you to start thinking about, like, you know, how much religion actually is really, like, a myth, but really intentionally a myth to try to teach you something else, and maybe can teach you only in that way, even though it is a falsehood, you know. And, you know, it makes you start thinking about all those kind of realities and things. And he talks about how basically, like, you know, how, like, on a subatomic level in quantum theory, like, the electron follows both, like, a wave and a particle function. Now, what that means is that, like, the electron exhibits both, like, the properties of a single particle and exhibits the properties of a wave, like light, and how it bends around, or water, how it bends around things. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's exhibiting two completely different realities at the same time. So, like, it doesn't make sense in our standard, like, theory of relativity, where everything is, like, you know, concise, and, you know, like, oh, everything is in its own little compartment. You know, like, it like, transcends compartments. It says that, like, you know, like, sometimes, like, in quantum theory, like, electrons literally just jump from one place to another, and it doesn't make sense. Like he gets to in here is that, like, it's not really jumping, it's really just one thing, and it's just going from one place to another. It's really not, like, you know, it's a little bit more complex than that, like, linguistically, but I'm trying to put it, like, in the most simple terms possible. Mm-hmm. But that's basically, like, what I have to say about that. I wish I had remembered the exact quote, but if you give me a minute, I can look it up on my phone. I will find that out.